Can we cut the call? Good evening, students.
Good evening,
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
is the clear to you?
Evening, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma. Good evening, ma. Yes, ma. Shall we start with the class? I think there are 10 participants.
Yes, ma'am.
We should go to class. Okay, ma. My exactly 4 o'clock I will wind up. Okay, so let us start with the class. Wait, I'll adjust the camera. Wait, 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, ma. We were doing in the last class one that tabular column. Do you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that is double that is displacement reaction. Page number 46 we were doing it. I'll write down. This is metal A, B, C, D. This is they are given iron to iron sulfate, that is ferrous sulfate. Next is given as copper sulfate. Next is given as zinc sulfate. Next is given as silver nitrate. A, here no reaction. Here displacement. They are not told anything regarding this, so leave it. Next is displacement. No reaction here. They are not told anything here. No reaction. No reaction. Here also no reaction. Here displacement. Here no reaction. No reaction. No reaction. No reaction. Okay. Anybody wants to try it out? Ovia? Ovia?
Ma'am?
Do you want to try? From the observation of metal D, what do you observe? From the observation of metal D, what do you observe? Everywhere they are given no reaction, no reaction. What do you observe? What do you conclude from that? Ovia? No reaction means it is not pardon, ma?
It doesn't displace.
Why it is not displacing? Why it is not displacing? Why it is not displacing? Yes, wait, ma, I will give the chance. Wait, let us give you. Why it is not displacing? When it will displace? When it will displace? Ovia?
When a more reactive metal displaces a less reactive metal.
See, metal from its compound. From that here, this D is not displacing any one of its elements. Then what do you conclude from that? What do you conclude from that? It is not displacing. Then what do you conclude from that?
It is not a reactive metal.
D is not displacing iron from ferrous sulfate. What did you conclude? D is not displacing iron from ferrous sulfate. What do you conclude? D is, if I want to displace iron from its compound, I should be
more reactive than
iron. Now I am not displacing means what does it mean?
It is less reactive.
So what do you conclude? It is all the four no reaction. What do you conclude?
It is not a displacement reaction.
What do you observe about D? What do you conclude about D? Yes, Hamsri?
Yes, ma'am. It is the least reactive element.
I didn't compare. I'm asking only about D. It is. I told D is less reactive of iron, copper,
Copper, zinc,
and silver.
silver.
Among these 5, this is least reactive. But among this, we are not making the conclusion. Amsini,
Yes, ma'am.
you cannot make a conclusion.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, from the 4th reaction, I make a conclusion that D is less reactive among these 2. Got it?
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Next step. Ovia, try it out the 3rd one. Ovia, are you in line? Are you in the class, Ovia? Ovia, she's not there. Next step. Next, Sandhya, tell me, ma. Okay, try out for C. Try out for C. C with ferrous sulfate, no reaction. Copper sulfate, no reaction. Zinc sulfate, no reaction. But with the silver, it is displaces. What do you conclude? What do you conclude? Sandhya? Iron, copper, zinc. My question will be asked of this type only. Sandhya, what did you say that? C is ferrous sulfate. It is displacing, no. It is displacing, no. It is displacing, no. It displaces only this. So what do you conclude from this? From this step of reaction, what do you conclude? Nirupama?
Ma'am, C is more reactive than Ag, but
C
less
is-
reactive.
C is low reactive than, no ma, it displaces silver.
More reactive.
It is more reactive than silver.
Less reactive than copper, zinc, and iron.
Zinc, yes, absolutely right. It is less reactive. In that case, I can say it is more reactive than silver and less reactive than iron, copper, zinc. That is the information you are trying to get. Sandhya, try it out the B1. Try out the B1. B1 displaces iron and no reaction with zinc. They are not talked about copper and silver. So you no need to touch that. Because they are not given any information regarding that. So what do you conclude? Sandhya, are you in line or not? Tell me yes or no first.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
she has answered in chat.
Then what is the answer for this? What do you conclude from B? B displaces iron from iron sulfate. So
B is more reactive than B is a metal which is more reactive than iron.
B is more reactive than iron. They are
Less.
not. Then they are not talking about copper. Don't talk about copper. They are not talking about silver. They don't talk about silver.
Less
do you
reactive
conclude?
than zinc.
And it is
Less
zinc,
reactive
less
than
reactive than zinc. It is less reactive than zinc. And it's less reactive than zinc. Next, say, what do you conclude from A? What do you conclude from A? Sandhya?
Ma'am, am I audible now?
Yes, yeah, you are audible now.
Before also I was speaking, ma'am, but I think you could not hear me.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. I was calling you. Now tell me what is A? What do you conclude from A?
A is A does not react with
A does not react. It's already given not reactive, that is given. What do you infer from that?
A is more reactive than copper.
A is more reactive than copper. Next say.
A is less reactive than iron.
A is less reactive than iron. Okay. From that, now you have to bring it everything together. Now arrange these elements in their decreasing order of their reactivity. Now D doesn't react with any of these four. But other elements are reacting with one or the other. They are more reactive with one or two elements, they are more reactive. But D did not displace any of them. So D is the least reactive metal. D is the least reactive metal. Next comes what?
C, ma'am.
Now we already know the reactivity series is this. Among the four, which will be the highest one? Zinc, iron, copper, silver. This is the one we know that already we know from the reactivity series. You are not able to see slightly. You know that reactive is zinc, iron, copper, silver. You write it. Now you have to check it out. Now we have to check it out. Where it comes? Where is the B? C is more reactive than. So C
Silver.
may come here. C is more reactive than silver. So only this place. So C may come before Ag because it's not displacing anything. So it is coming below this. Next is A. A is more reactive than copper, less reactive than iron. So A is coming here. B is more reactive than, sorry, I have written wrongly here. Zinc. More reactive than iron, less reactive than C. Therefore, B is coming here. Then where is D coming? D doesn't do anything with anybody. So D comes here. Understood the concept? See, I have written. If you have a doubt, write on this. No problem. We have all to write the correct, get the correct answer. That's all. So order is B is more reactive than A. A is more reactive than C. C is more reactive than D. But you should know what do you observe from this. That information you should know very clearly. I will rub this. See that. Then only you get an idea. Here A is no reaction, but it displays. So A is more reactive than copper, less reactive than iron. So where is I written? A is more reactive than copper, less reactive than iron. Then when I make a conclusion of this, then from that conclusion I try to find out where the question is. Now if we want to write down the reactive series of the metal, B is more reactive than A is more reactive than C, C is more reactive than D. After from this I can say which is the most reactive metal. B is the most reactive metal. D is the least reactive metal. Now which is the most reactive metal? B. What do you observe if B is added to a solution of copper sulfate? B is coming here. Copper sulfate is here. Will it displace? Yes, it will displace because B is more reactive. See the place it is there. So B can displace copper from copper sulfate solution. Arrange the metals in the decreasing order of reactivity. This is the decreasing order of reactivity. Got it or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ovia, she was not able to answer and I couldn't get any answer from her. Ovia, are you in the class?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. My internet connection was unstable, so I had to leave the meeting.
Okay. Are you able to understand this? Are you clear with this? Are you clear with
Yes,
this?
ma'am.
Yes. Yes. This is the way you have to conclude it. Mostly question will be asked from this by this form itself. Let us go for the next thing. How do metals react with non-metals? So far we were talking about how metals reacting with other elements and non-metals reacting with other elements. Now we are going to study how metals and non-metals react with each other. For example, I take sodium. I take chlorine. This is metal, this is non-metal. How do they react? Let us see the electronic configuration of sodium. Sodium atomic number is 11. Its electronic configuration when I write 2, 8, 1. This is, you know, already 9th standard, you might have studied. Because maximum number of electrons, the first shell is 2. Maximum number of electrons in the second shell is 8. Then after filling, the remaining electrons will go to the third shell. It is 17. Atomic number of chlorine is 17. 2, 8, 7. This is or we have seen that most of the elements we are getting from the earth crust are in the form of salt. Salt form only they are getting it. We are getting in the form of compound. We are not getting in the form of element itself. Gold only we get from the earth as gold itself. Gold mines are there, we get in the form of gold itself because they are not reactive. But other metals are reacting with other elements in the earth crust or in the atmosphere. So they always exist in the form of compound. Why they are not existing in the form of an element? Mostly helium, neon and an elementary state. But most of the elements exist only in their compound form. Why? Compound is found to be more stable than the elementary state. Compound form is more stable than the elementary state. Then how do we determine the stability? Compound is more stable than elementary state is. How do you say they are stable? That is very, very simple. It has been put out the rule that every element trying to form a compound in order to attain octet structure. What is octet structure? To get 8 electrons in the outermost shell. To get 8 electrons in the outermost shell. When they get 8 electrons in the outermost shell, they attain the stability. So every element tries to attain octet structure in the outermost shell. Here sodium is also trying to attain the octet structure. How it attains the octet structure? Either it has to lose 1 electron or to gain 7 electrons. Which is easier? Losing 1 electron is easier. So sodium ready to lose 1 electron and forms Na plus. Na plus now it is attains the octet structure. It is 2, 8, 1. It ready to attain the octet structure. This chlorine is need of that 1 electron to attain the octet structure. When chlorine combines with sodium, sodium can give that electron, that chlorine can gain it. So chlorine atomic number is 17, 2, 8, 7. It accepts that electron to form Cl minus 2, 8, 8. It attains the octet structure. Now, one is by losing an electron, you get a cation. By losing an anion, you get an anion. How much electron is lost is being mentioned here. Plus means it has lost 1 electron. If I put Na2 plus, it shows that it has lost 2 electrons. Somebody's come up, call is there, I'll check it out and come. Please, sorry, wait a minute, sorry. Okay, I'll continue. Sorry for the interruption. Okay. Now, yes, you people are in the class. Are in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Now, they are losing the electron. This is gaining the electron. The number of electron lost or gained, I am showing by this. If it is for calcium ready to lose 2 electrons, so I write it as 2 plus. The 2 plus tells you the loss of electrons. There is one more thing, SO4 2 minus. This tells you the gain of 2 electrons. So now that way we can find out whether it has lost the electron or gained the electron. After they lose and gain, they become charged. This charge, for opposite and negative charge. Yeah, we know that opposite charges attract each other. There is a force of attraction exists between them to hold these ions tightly. This force we call as electrostatic force. electrostatic force of attraction existing between this cation and anion hold this ion together and make the bond called ionic bond. It's an ionic bond. I can say the ionic bond is formed by the complete transfer. It completely transfers. It's already given it. Complete transfer of valence electrons from metal to non-metal results in the formation of ionic bond. Ionic bond is formed by the complete transfer of valence electron from metal to non-metal. Then the bond formed is called as ionic bond. Clear with the definition of ionic bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Ionic
Ma'am,
bond
can you
is
repeat it,
formed.
ma'am?
Ionic bond is formed by the complete transfer of valence electrons from metal to non-metal results in the formation of ionic bond. If there is one more bond is that you will study in your carbon compost next chapter. That is called as a covalent bond. That is we call as a covalent bond. That we shall do it later. But how am I to know? For example, I'm wrapping up.
Ma'am, could you please repeat the definition again, ma'am?
The complete transfer of valence electrons from complete transfer, because I'm nowhere, once I given, I'm not taking the ownership of that electron that I have given. It is a completely given. So only we call that as a complete transfer. The complete transfer of valence electrons from metal to non-metal results in the formation of ionic bond. The force of attraction existing in ionic bond is nothing but electrostatic force of attraction. I'm going on. Then I told that there is one more bond that you'll study in the next chapter. It is covalent bond. How am I to know that the given compound is having ionic bond or not? For example, KCl, SO2, NO2, MnO2, HNO3, CrO3, zinc carbonate. Pick out the compounds which have ionic bond. Pick out the compounds which have ionic bond. Any idea? Pick out the compounds which have ionic bond. What is ionic bond? Ionic bond is the bond formed by complete transfer of valence electrons from metal to non-metal. Then, in a compound, if there is a dash is there, then the bond is formed of ionic bond. In a compound, if there is dash means I'm talking of fill up. You have to complete the statement.
Ma'am, valence electrons.
Kanna, everyone will have valence electrons. Without valence electron, bond formation is not possible, Baba. Definition of ionic bond definition என்னன்னு சொன்னேன். Complete transfer of அது என்ன transfer? அது transfer இங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா covalent bondல mutual transfer னு சொல்லுவோம். That we shall do it later. இப்ப நான் definition சொல்றேன். The complete transfer of valence electron from metal to non-metal. அப்ப ஒரு given compoundல if there is a dash, then the compound is called as an ionic bond. What do you fill up in the dash?
Metal and non-metal.
Metals and non-metal.
Metal and non-metal. Okay.
Metal and non-metal.
If a metal and non-metal இருக்குன்னு சொல்றீங்க, அப்ப pick out the compounds which are ionic bond. Pick out the compounds which have ionic bond. Pick out the compounds which have ionic bond. बताइए. Night இது என்ன HNO3 ஆ? What are the elements are there in nitric acid? HNO3, hydrogen, oxygen. All are in metal or non-metal?
Non-metal.
Non-metal.
Ionic bond irukka?
No, ma'am.
No, Papa no. And then KCl.
Ionic bond, ma'am.
Ionic bond.
Bond. Inga.
metal.
No, ma'am.
No.
No.
No ionic bond.
Sulfur is non-metal.
No ionic
No, that's nothing but
No,
covalent
ma'am.
bond. Nothing but covalent bond. Frida. Next day, MnO2.
Yes, ma'am.
Ionic.
Ionic
It's an
bond.
Mn is
ionic bond.
metal. Mn is metal. NO2.
No, ma'am.
Metal. No.
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Plant.
No ionic bond.
Ionic bond. That is covalent. Understand?
No.
Idenna.
Ionic
Yes,
bond.
ma'am.
Ionic
Ionic
bond.
bond.
Ionic bond.
Idenna.
Ionic bond.
Ionic
Ionic
bond.
Ionic bond. Oh, Purida. If they are giving a compound, we can easily check it out whether it is made up of ionic bond or not. How? If there is a metal, then it is an ionic bond. Understood or not? Because the complete transfer of electron is taking place from metal to non-metal only, not the reverse. Understood? So ionic compound will always contain a metal. There is one exception is there. It's nothing but if I take ammonia, ammonia, what bond is it? Ammonia,
Nitrogen.
nitrogen,
Covalent
bond. A covalent bond. That how it is formed, we shall do it later. Covalent bond. Now ammonia has a lone pair. Ammonia has a lone pair. If here hydrogen is coming as H plus is plus. You know that hydrogen atom has one electron. Hydrogen atom has one electron. Here hydrogen is coming with H plus. H plus is it has lost its electron, so it doesn't have electron. But when it comes here, this nitrogen ready to give both the electrons to form. Actually, to form a bond, I need 2 electrons. This nitrogen donates the 2 electrons, even though hydrogen doesn't have electron. It's ready to provide the 2 electrons for the bond formation. So this bond hydrogen is giving. Understand? This is called, we call this bond as coordinate bond. You study, we shall start, I will teach you when I am teaching covalent bond. Now, since it has given its own electron, it carries a positive charge. Since it has donated its electron, it carries a positive charge. Now HCl, and actually I am treating with HCl. H is plus, it comes. Now Cl minus is there. Yeah, electrostatic force of attraction takes place. So this bond is called as ionic bond. You can say, ma'am, you told that complete transfer of electron from metal to non-metal is ionic bond. Here, this is also ionic bond. That is an exception. All ammonium salts, ammonium chloride, ammonium carbonate, all ammonium salts, ammonium sulfate, all ammonium salts contain all 3 types of bonds. If I take ammonia, what type of bond is there? Only covalent bond. But this ammonium salts contain all types of bonds: ionic, covalent, and coordinate bonds. Will form coordinate bond. There are 3 types of bonds are there: ionic, covalent, and coordinate bond. So that I say that a compound, even though it doesn't have a metal, still it forms ionic bond. What compound is that? I can say ammonium salts. All ammonium salts have ionic bond. Clear? Clear? This is one of the exceptions. It's one of the exceptions. Now, how to represent the ionic bond by Lewis dot structure? Lewis dot structure. By Lewis dot structure, how do you represent the formation of ionic bond? That is, for example, I'm taking NaCl itself. Na. In the Lewis dot structure, we will represent only the electrons of the outermost shell. In Lewis dot structure, we will represent the electrons of the outer motion. For example, sodium, chlorine, this is 2, 8, 1. I represent 1 electron. Chlorine, 2, 8, 7. So I represent 7 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7. Why I am representing? To show the difference of the electrons. Where the electron, whose electron, to show the difference. I am representing by difference symbol. Now Na loses 1 electron. Na having 1 electron loses 1 electron becomes Na plus. Then Cl takes up 1 electron to form Cl. This electron I am getting from sodium. Then these two combine to form Na plus Cl 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a force of attraction exists in the formation of sodium chloride. This is the way we represent the ionic bond formation by Lewis dot structure. By Lewis dot structure. Shall I do with the other one? We shall
Yes,
do
ma'am.
some other example.
Yes, ma'am.
Next. I am taking calcium oxide. Calcium oxygen. Oxide, calcium oxide is calcium and oxygen. Calcium atomic number is 12. Oxygen is 8. So I will write as 2, sorry, calcium is 20. Yes, 19, calcium is 20. Okay. 2, 8, we write it as 2, 8, 2. 8, 2 are 10. Then we write like this. 2, 8, 2. Why we are writing that you might be learning later. 2, 8, 8, 2 only we write. Here 2, 6. Here 2, 6. I write only the electrons on the outer motion. Calcium. Oxygen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here it needs 2 electrons to attain the octet structure. It is ready to lose 2 electrons to attain the octet structure. So calcium, what it does? It Ca plus. This is provides these 2 electrons to form Ca2 plus O. This is shows that it is taken from the other element, and this is in the formation of Ca2 plus. This is gain 2 electrons. Gain 2 electrons. So O. This is the formation of calcium oxide. This charges and all should be properly mentioned. Let us try with aluminium chloride. Shall I rub it off? I am rubbing
Yes,
off.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I am trying out with aluminium chloride. Aluminium chloride, aluminium, chlorine. Aluminium atomic number is 13. Chlorine 17. Then how I write it? 2, 8, 3. This I write it as 2, 8, 7. How I represent aluminium? 1, 2, 3 plus chlorine. I write it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But how? It needs only 1 electron. But I am having 3 electrons. How am I to do? It means that I need 3 chlorine. Then only it can form. I am not able to do it. I need 3 chlorine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it provides 1 electron here, 1 electron here, and 1 electron here. So I get it. Al3 plus chlorine. I write like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 electron, but 3 chlorine. I write the 3 chlorine this way. And how many charges? Each chlorine gets only 1 charge. Then I get. This is results in the formation of ionic bond. Because for 1 chlorine, this is 1 chlorine, 1 charge. But how many chlorines are there? 3. So I put 3 here. This is the way you have to represent the formation of ionic bond. Next is one more thing, one more where the other form also we can test. Shall I rub it off? I'm rubbing off.
Yes, ma'am.
One more thing I can tell it out. Sodium oxide. Sodium oxide. Oxide. Sodium 2,8,1. Oxygen 2,6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sodium 1. But it needs 2 electrons. I'm having only 1 electron. Sorry, only 1 electron. What does it mean? I need 1 more sodium. Understand? 1 more sodium. This is donates this electron. This donates this electron. So you get Na. How many sodium? Sodium by losing 1 electron, it carries a positive charge. But how many sodiums are there? 2 sodium. I put 2 sodium. Oxygen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then 1 gauge. Therefore, sorry, this is this 2 electrons. So 2 minus. This is the formation of ionic compound. Got it or not?
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Any doubt is there in writing the Lewis dot structure of ionic compounds?
No doubts, ma'am.
No doubts, ma'am.
Shall I go for the next one? Properties
Yes, ma'am.
of,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
very important, properties of ionic compounds. Ionic compounds are formed by strong because positive electric charge and the force of attraction is very strong. Ionic bond is formed by the strong electrostatic force of attraction. So there is large amount of energy is required to break the bond because force of attraction is very strong. So large amount of energy is needed to break the bond. So ionic compounds have high melting and boiling point, I can say. Ionic compounds have high melting and boiling point. Number 1. If I talk about the physical state, since there is strong force of attraction existing between the ions, strong force, so the ions are held very tightly. There is no movement. So ionic compounds mostly exist in solid state. Ionic compounds are mostly exist in solid state. But these ionic compounds have strong force of attraction, but they are very brittle. Brittle means it easily can be broken when you apply external force. These compounds are generally brittle and break into pieces when pressure is applied. They have a strong force of attraction. Yes, absolutely it's not, but it can be easily broken. They are brittle. Number 1. Physical state. Since there is a strong force of attraction existing between the ions, they are existing in solid state. Next step. Since there is strong force of attraction existing between the ions, a large amount of energy is needed to break the bond. So these ionic compounds have high melting and boiling point. When I talk about the solubility, first physical state, next is melting and boiling point, melting point and boiling point. Third is solubility. When I talk about solubility, I talk solubility in water because water is a universal solvent. Water is universal solvent. It is an ionic compound. Water is a metal, is there? No. It's a covalent compound because the bond formed is covalent. Even though the bond is covalent, if there is a positive and negative charge separation is there, we call that compound as polar. If the charge separation is there, we call that compound as polar. Mostly covalent compounds are not polar, but some are said to be polar. Why? This is water structure. This is the water structure. This bond is formed by mutual sharing. Mutual sharing. If you give 1 electron, I will give 1 electron so that we can form a bond. That is the meaning. Ionic bond is formed by the complete transfer of electrons from metal to non-metal. I have given the electron to you yourself. Then by losing 1 electron, I become positive charge. By losing 1 electron, the other atom becomes a negative charge. Force of attraction results in the formation of ionic bond. Here it is not like that. Here, if the atoms wants to form bond formation, If you are giving 1 electron, I will give 1 electron. If you give 2 electrons, I will give 2 electrons. Likewise, they give from the one. So only we call that mutual sharing. Mutual sharing. Mutual means if you give 1, I will give 1. If you give 2, I will give 2. Mutual sharing. Mutual sharing of electrons between the atoms results in the formation of ionic covalent bond. That is, mutual sharing of electrons between the atoms results in the formation of covalent bond. So mutual sharing means they are common for both of them. They cannot go more near to oxygen or hydrogen. This is common for both of them. But if we compare here oxygen and hydrogen, hydrogen is smaller in size. It has only 1 electron. Oxygen has many electrons. So attractive power of oxygen is more. So this, instead of being these electrons in the common place, this electron resides more on oxygen. Why? Because of the attractive power of oxygen. So slightly a negative charge appears, slightly a positive charge applies. As long as the electron is with me, I don't carry a charge. This electron, what I have, is lost to my way. It has gone away from me. Therefore, carries a positive charge. Then my electron mostly resides on another atom. So it has gaining more than its electron. So it carries a negative charge. So this is happens, such compounds. We call such compounds as polar. This polarity arises due to the transfer. Here the polarities arises because of the attraction of one of the atoms. Cl, chlorine forms a bond, Cl. Both are similar power. So here attraction cannot take place because both are equal power. So the electrons cannot be attracted towards any one of it. But here attracting power varies. So oxygen pulls the electron towards itself. There is more number of electrons pulls the electron towards itself. So it gets a partial negative charge, and partial is less negative charge and less positive charge. It is not complete as we write here. I completely donated. So complete positive charge. It is not donated. Instead of being near your place, it is in the common place. It is near to my place. That is the meaning. So this we call it as this charge creation takes place. So such type of compounds are also called as polar. Here no such polar. They are non-polar because charges remains common only. So charge creation is not possible. Understand? So I can say in chemistry, polar compounds will be soluble in polar solvents. Polar compounds will be soluble in polar solvents. Non-polar compounds will be soluble in non-polar solvents. Got it? Very good example I can say. This is when people working in Greece, your vehicle repairment, when they do petrol, oil and all will stick to your hand. How do they remove? How do they remove it? Have you ever seen it? If there is a stay, what is your dirt? Dirt is nothing but dirt, and if there is any non-removable dirt is there, what your mother does? If there is any dirt, unwanted dirt sticking in your voice,
soap water.
Adama?
Soap water.
Soap doesn't, all the time soap directly doesn't remove that.
Soap water.
Soap water dan taye, soap water, everything the same only.
Yes, ma'am.
We remove the dirt only with washing with soap, no. But some dirt, some dirt like grease and that will not remove your white shirt very easily. It is that much easy not there. If the dirt is non-removable, even after washing by soap, if it is not removed, means what your mother does to remove the dirt. Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen? Have you ever seen?
No, ma'am.
No. Mostly people will see where they
I'm
use
thinner.
Thinner, yes, absolutely right. They use thinner or kerosene or petrol. They will take and slightly use it. That's it.
Ma'am, they also use vinegar, no, ma'am?
Vinegar they won't use. Vinegar is an acid. It will spoil the dress. They won't use it.
Okay.
But they won't do. Vinegar is an acid, they won't do. They will use thinner. Thinner means that thinner is there. Thinner is, you might have seen, if there is any thinner, if there are any stains in the furniture and all, you will use the thinner. Thinner or petrol, diesel they are there, because petrol, diesel, thinner and all comes under hydrocarbon. Non-polar. Your dirt is always non-polar. Your dirt which is sticking to your dress are non-polar. So if there are unremovable, non-removable stains are there that can be easily removed. Why? That dissolves only in that. Then you can wash it with soap, because thinner smell will be there. Kerosene, if you are using kerosene, smell is there. Then after you can wash it, you can wash it with soap. You might have seen those who are mechanic people, those who are working with vehicles, all stains will be black in color in their hand. How do they remove? First they use petrol. All of a sudden they don't wash with soap. Even they wash with soap, it will not remove it very easily, because your petrol, diesel are nothing but hydrocarbon. Hydrocarbon is made up of carbon and hydrogen. A compound made up of carbon and hydrogen is nothing but non-polar, covalent, non-polar. Then what is non-polar? Will it go with water? Oil. Oil stains are there in your body. Oil stains can be easily removed by adding soap. Oil stains, that is there. But it is diesel, petrol, diesel is there. It doesn't remove by soap. What they do? First they will wash with petrol, because your diesel, everything is non-polar. Your petrol, diesel is also non-polar. So what happened? Easily removed. Then they wash it with soap. So only I am telling, here in chemistry, polar compound will be soluble in polar solvents. Or water is a polar. So only most of the salt contains metal in it. Most of the salts contain metal in it. Salt is formed by neutralization reaction, base and acid. Base means it will have metal in. So most of the chemical salts have metal in them. All are mostly polar. So only they are soluble in water, but they are not soluble in other substances. Understand or not? When I talk about soluble, this ionic compounds are otherwise called as electrovalent compounds, are soluble in water. Why? Polar. But they are insoluble in petrol, diesel. Why? Petrol and diesel are non-polar, so they are not soluble. Got it? Next, since they have ions in them, they conduct electricity. You might be knowing conduction of electricity is two ways, either by movement of electrons or movement of ions. In chemistry, conduction of electricity is due to the movement of ions. So only we say sodium chloride, even we get shocked. Why we are getting shocked? Why we are getting shocked? Because our body has salt in them. All salts in our body are ionic. Because of the movement of ions, they conduct electricity. Because of ions, they conduct electricity. So, these ionic compounds or electrovalent compounds conduct electricity. They conduct electricity only in molten or in aqueous form, not in the solid state. Why? In solid state, the ions are held very tightly. There is no movement of ions. Ions are there, but there is no movement. Movement of ions only conduct electricity. Movement of ions only conduct electricity. Solid state. In solid state also the ions, they have ions, but they do not move. So they do not conduct electricity. Understand? So ionic compounds also called by the word called electrovalent compounds. The electrovalent compounds conduct electricity only in aqueous state or in the molten state. Molten means it's not in the liquid form. Molten, you know, there is some movement is there, so they conduct electricity. But in the solid state, they do not conduct electricity because there is no movement of ions. These are the characteristics of ionic compounds. Ionic compounds are formed by the strong electrostatic force of attraction. Hence, the ionic compounds exist in solid state. They exist in a crystalline solid. They have a definition, crystalline solid state, melting and boiling. Since the ionic compounds have strong force of attraction, large amount of energy is needed to break the bond. Hence, ionic compounds have high melting and boiling point. Third, they are soluble in water, but they are insoluble in kerosene and petrol. Why? Even in alcohol also it will not soluble because they are non-polar. Ionic compounds are polar. Next, then I'll talk about the conductivity. Ionic compounds conduct electricity in molten or in aqueous form because in that state only they can conduct movement of ions. In solid state, the ions are held very tightly. There is no movement of ions, so they do not conduct electricity. These are the characteristics of ionic compounds. Then let us go with the in-text question. Write the electron dot structure for sodium, oxygen, and magnesium. That is very simple question only. Sodium, just now we have done n number of times, so you can do. Oxygen also we have done. Magnesium you can do. Magnesium, what is atomic number is 12, 2, 8, 2. So magnesium electronic configuration I will do 2. Because by electronic configuration we show only the outermost electrons. So the formation of Na2 and MgO, just now I did Na2O, I did MgO, we shall do. MgO, Mg, just now we are seeing it has 2 electrons. Oxygen 6, oxygen it has 6 electrons in the outermost shell. These 2 electrons are given. So it forms Mg2 plus. Oxygen gains this 2 electrons. So it gets -2 minus. This is the formation of magnesium oxide. What are the ions present in this compound? In this compound, what are the ions present in this compound? The ions present in this compound is Mg2 plus, O2 minus. In Na2O, what is the ion present? Na plus and O2 minus.
O2 minus.
In Na, what is it? Na plus is there. In oxygen, O2 minus is there.
O2 minus.
That charge is there. Why do ionic compounds have high melting point? Ionic compounds are held by strong electrostatic force of attraction. So large amount of energy is needed to break the bond. So ionic compounds have high melting point. That's all regarding metals and non-metals. Occurrence of metals and everything that is following you don't have. That is our deleted portion of your CBSE that you know or don't know. Anna, hello students.
Yes, ma'am. We know, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We have in this chapter, we have only here for your CBSE. The following are not in your CBSE. Your main part they deleted. So okay, things become made very easier for you. Now come over to the question that is given. Why metals do not corrode heated with the polymers, metallic oxides. This you can do. Come to the question, page number 55. 55. Question number 1 you can do. Question number is as per the syllabus. The other 2 and all will not be there. Now metal is given. You are having zinc, magnesium, copper. Magnesium, zinc and copper you have. Now you have zinc oxide, magnesium oxide, copper oxide. Now zinc, we are treating metal oxides of zinc and magnesium, copper are heated with following metals. When I zinc heated with zinc oxide, what do you expect? Sandhya?
Ma'am, no reaction.
No reaction, yes, absolutely. Then when I heat with this, what will happen?
Mg is more reactive, so Mg will displace.
MgO plus zinc will come out. Clear? Then here what will happen?
Ma'am, Cu is less reactive, so no reaction.
C is less reactive. Okay, no reaction. Okay. Yes. Next. Hamsini. Nirupama.
Yes.
Hamsini
Okay.
answer. Okay. Nirupama, come on.
Yes, ma'am. Me.
Nirupama.
Okay. Okay.
With zinc with magnesium.
Magnesium is more reactive than zinc.
Hello.
So
you will talk in terms of zinc or you will talk in terms of magnesium? You will talk in terms of zinc or you will
zinc
talk
is
zinc is.
less reactive.
So what will happen here?
So it'll there'll be no reaction.
To tell this much time. Next magnesium.
No
oxide.
reaction, ma'am.
Next
Copper is less reactive than
less reactive than.
magnesium.
So
It'll there'll be no reaction.
next Ovia.
Ma'am,
Tell me.
ma'am, reaction will take place, ma'am, because zinc
is more reactive than copper. So what is the product you are getting?
Zinc copper.
Zinc oxide plus copper.
Zinc plus
Okay.
copper oxide.
Zinc oxide plus copper.
Plus copper.
Next day.
Yes, ma'am. Reaction will take place because magnesium is reactive than
copper. So magnesium oxide plus copper. Here.
No reaction will take place.
Check out the reactivity with respect to this metal, not with this. This is not trying to come out of the compound. This is only trying to replace. Next day. Which of the following subject you can do? What are amphoteric oxides? Give 2 examples of amphoteric oxides. Amphoteric oxides are the oxides which shows both acidic and basic properties. Example, zinc oxide and aluminum oxide. Name 2 metals which displace hydrogen from dilute to acid. Zinc and water. You can write any metal which is above copper. Above copper, what are the metals? All metals will displace hydrogen from acids. And 2 metals which will not. What are the 2 metals you will write? Wait, I will give some options for somebody. Wait. Name 2 metals which do not displace hydrogen from acids. Niranjan.
Ma'am, copper and mercury.
Copper and mercury, yes, absolutely right. 8th you don't have. 9th you have. 9th I will find out some person. Wait. Niranjan. Akash, come on. Akash.
Yes, ma'am, there, ma'am.
Yeah. What that is, Pratyush took sulfur powder on a spatula and heated it. He collected the gas. When he heated it in the presence of air, what sulfur turns into?
Hydrogen.
Sulfur reacts in the presence of oxygen in the atmosphere and heating.
Sulfur dioxide.
Sulfur dioxide.
Okay.
You are heating powder in a spatula and heated in the exposure to atmosphere. So you get sulfur dioxide. He collected the gas evolving by emitting a gas test tube over it. See the diagram it is being. He is collecting over there. What will be the action of gas on dry litmus paper? You got SO2 gas. SO2 gas by dry litmus paper.
No change, ma'am.
No effect.
Hey, wait, I asked Akash.
Yes, ma'am.
SO2 gas by dry litmus paper. What do you observe? What do you observe? SO2 gas by dry litmus paper. What do you observe? Akash.
Ma'am, don't know.
Dana. Why Dana? SO2 is a metallic oxide or non-metallic oxide?
Non-metallic.
Non-metallic oxides are dash in nature.
Basic.
Non-metallic oxide is acidic or basic, Tanga?
Acidic, ma'am, acidic.
Acidic na dry litmus paper, will it change or not?
No, ma'am.
No, why? Litmus paper only they told. Litmus paper, it may be a blue litmus paper or it may be a red litmus paper. They have not mentioned whether blue or red. That is not it. There are 2 papers are available. Blue is also available, red is also available. Now you have to tell me which litmus paper will undergo a change.
Red goes
to
blue, ma'am.
Red goes to blue in what medium? Red changes to blue in what medium? Go through the chapter. The second chapter is of not red mist. Then when you will read the third chapter, Akash,
Ma'am,
yes,
ma'am, acids will turn blue to red.
Blue
ma'am.
to red, no,
that
ma'am.
only I'm asking.
Blue to red.
That only
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
asking.
So no change.
He is telling red to blue. Red to blue means in which one it will act? I'm asking him. Akash,
Blue to red. ma'am.
blue to red in what medium? Blue will red turns into red in what medium?
Acidic medium.
Since it is an acid, we are expecting blue should change into red. Will it change? Akash,
No.
why it doesn't change?
Ma'am, because litmus paper, ma'am. It's a
Litmus-
dry litmus.
Huh?
It's a dry litmus, ma'am. We have 2 litmus papers, ma'am. We don't have a
அதான்டா 2 litmus paper டா ரெண்டுமே இருக்கு ப்ளூ இருக்கு ரெட் இருக்கு either you add blue and check out the change or red you find it check out the change blue போட்டா red ஆகும் acid mediumனால blue போட்டா
Yes,
red
ma'am. Red won't change, ma'am.
blue will change or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes sir. Cannot dry. SO2 is a gas. It's dry. So what will happen? Change will not occur. Why? SO2 is a gas. It is acidic in nature, but it's not an acid. It shows acidic property only when I dissolve in water. Only when I dissolve in water. How do you define an acid? Acid is a substance which produces H plus ions in aqueous solution. When I
Okay.
put in water only, it shows acidic character. Here both are dry, gas, dry litmus paper. What will not happen? No change.
Yes.
Then moist litmus paper, will it change?
No, ma'am.
Hey, moist da.
Yes, ma'am. It will change, ma'am.
Moist, it has water with that.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
red litmus, blue litmus will turn into red. Write the balanced chemical equation for the reaction. What do you write? S plus O2 gives SO2. That's
SO2.
all you write. That is not a type of oxides formed from non-metals combined with oxygen. Non-metals combined with oxygen to form non-metallic oxides which are acidic in nature. Then platinum, gold, jewelry are used to make jewelry. Gold are used for making jewelry because they are highly malleable and ductile. Sodium, potassium, lithium are stored under oil because they are highly
reactive.
they catches fire with
Fire
oxygen.
easily.
They react vigorously with atmospheric
Ma'am,
oxygen.
instead of react, you have to say it catches fire on exposure to oxygen. So only it is kept in oil. Aluminum is highly reactive material. It is used to make utensils for cooking because it's a good conductor of heat. Carbon sulfate was D is not there for you. The other things are not there. Differentiate between metals and non-metals is a base of chemical property that we have already done. That's all regarding. The other questions are not there for you. These are coming under difficult questions. Okay, now my third chapter is over. We shall meet in the next class with the fourth chapter, carbon compost. Carbon compost, most of the portion is deleted, so we can finish it within two classes. We can finish it. So what you are going to do, Akash and I'll go through the content and come up. Then we will be finishing all the chapter. Then that most of the things will be left over. So read the content and come for the next class. So I'm going to do next class. Half an hour testing will be there. I will ask you the questions. You have to say the answers. Keep your video on and you have to tell me the answer. So come prepared with third chapter and come. Then I will go with the fourth chapter. What is your homework for the next class?
Have to read third chapter.
Have to read the third
For the
chapter,
third
ma'am.
You
chapter.
have to read the third chapter and come. I will ask you the questions, keeping your video on. So come prepared, then I will go with the fourth chapter. Okay, ma'am. I'm finding out
Ma'am,
the class.
Sunday, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Sunday was the next class, ma'am. Mostly Sunday you may be having either evening or the timing. I will say, ma'am will inform you, ma'am. Okay,
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.